Seattle picks at number 21. I believe it's 21. I should have looked that up. I assume that.
Yeah, it's 21.
Okay, it's 21.
Yeah, you got it.
The last time they picked in this range, it was George Kirby, which is a nice pick, which probably shows that Seattle knows what fits them, what they're good at, how to identify traits and things of that nature, which is obviously critical and necessary if you're trying to develop players on a regular basis. If you're really good at pitching and you suck at, developing bats, or you struggle with, switch hitters or whatever it is, you don't want to draft a bunch of those guys. So I think the George Kirby selection was a sign that, hey, we kind of know what we're good at and let's go do it. And so far, so good with George Kirby. So they're at 21 for the 22 draft. Are there a small handful of talents? Again, 7 months out, things are going to change, but kind of a draft is tomorrow situation. Are there a handful of names that that folks should know and keep an eye on, and so they can get an idea what kind of talent Seattle might be looking at 21?
I think that's especially with the 21 draft. It's, Seattle went for upside. They went with Harry Ford. They went with a guy that they simply haven't gone after, at all, in the Dipoto and Scott Hunter kind of era. So I think there are some guys. I think what's important to look at for Seattle is region. They really like Georgia. They really like the Carolinas and Virginia. So I got a few guys in mind. The first guy is a left-handed pitcher. He's a high school pitcher. I don't know if Seattle would go this route, but Jackson Ferris out of IMG Academy. Yeah. I mean, it's just, he's a lefty with an easy arm action that's been up to 98 with a big curveball. And that's the kind of thing that you kind of look at the 21 slot. Brock Porter is another one. He's a righty, 6'3", 190 out of Michigan. Not generally an area that they've gone, but it is a good year for high school pitching. He might kind of fall into that lap area. The other two I would say are college pitchers. It's just tough. It's tough to know what direction they'll go, but Carson Palmquist is a lefty out of Miami. He's been their closer for the last 2 years. He's going to move into the rotation this year, and he's got a lot of Chris Sale qualities, side armor, big fastball, slider, changeup. And then the last guy I would bring up is Blade Tidwell, right-handed pitcher out of Tennessee, up to 100, big curveball, big slider. I think all of those guys make sense, but I really don't know what direction Seattle wants to go. If they're going with the bucket approach, if they're going with the tiered bucket approach, like they did with Harry Ford, maybe they go with a high school pitcher and, try something new.
Where is Landon Sims in this conversation? Right in that range, somewhere between 18 and 30.
We've got him at 27. The thing with Sims for me that I kind of push him away from Seattle. Metrically, analytically, the fastball is good. The slider is good, but he doesn't really have a third pitch yet. Now that could obviously come out this year. But he's a, Georgia born and raised, Mississippi State kid, moving into the rotation this year, and checks a lot of boxes in like the analytics side of things. So
you're right, though. Seattle has been very big on 3 and 4 pitch guys. So they have the best opportunity to have a full repertoire. So starting, even if the development of the changeup is slow, they have a slider and a curveball to use and to attack hitters from both sides of the plate to mix it up. One guy that we actually mentioned before I hit the record button is Justin Crawford. Tell me about Justin Crawford. He's in Vegas, right? He's at Bishop Gorman, I think.
Yep.
Why is Crawford, besides his last name, and go ahead and tell folks who he's related to and why that name kind of sort of sounds familiar. It's not JP Crawford we're talking about, but at least not directly. He's an interesting cat. He's a really good athlete and certainly has the lineage.
I mean, this is a crazy year for lineage. I mean, Justin Crawford is coming up. CC Sabathia's kid is coming up. Drew Jones is coming up. I mean, there's a lot of these guys. In terms of Justin Crawford, it's Carl Crawford's son, and he's pretty much the exact same player as his dad. It's an 80 runner. He's the toppest of the top of the scale.
Maybe though, just maybe, Joe, they can teach that kid to play center field with that kind of speed and agility and quickness, because Carl Crawford somehow, some way avoided center field like the plague. Like, you look at a guy like that and you're like, what in the world is he doing? And they just really never went that route, especially once he got to the big leagues. It was pretty much all left field.
The interesting thing about Justin is he isn't revered for his route running ability yet. He's got long strides. He can go get anything, but he's not like a pure center fielder right now. But the thing about Crawford that's interesting, Jason, is he's 6'3", 170, and it's the exact type of guy that shows up in February and March, a complete animal.
Yeah.
You know, just 185 and, you know, parking lot in baseballs. So, and he's got the raw power. Like, the bat speed is immense. He's not a slappy guy like Carl.
That's fun.
He's going to be expensive. He's going to be expensive. He's
going to be pricey. So if he doesn't go top half of the round, at least you're talking school, probably.
Yeah. I mean, unless Seattle gets creative with their first, like, pick 21. And I kind of expect Seattle to lose their second and fourth pick through free agency.
Right.
Yeah. I think you take Justin Crawford in the first round, or you don't take him at all.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Where does Kumar Rocker come up in this first round conversation after what transpired in 2021 with the Mets and, you know, the elbow and all that good stuff? And he's destined for an independent league, and back in the draft in 2022 is unfair. Hey, it's Jason Churchill. To get the full episode, as well as every other episode of the podcast, past and future, subscribe for as little as $5 per month by going to bit.ly/getthepod. That's bit.ly/getthepod, all one word. A link you can also find on my Twitter profile. Hey, thanks for checking out Baseball Things.